Hey everybody, we're back at the Desk of Interesting Things here with something quite interesting. I know it's been a long time, but we are here, and this is the Hori Fighting Commander OCTA for the Xbox Series X and S. Now, I picked this up a couple of days ago. This was on sale over on Woot, that Amazon branded company that does super discounts on all sorts of things. But this thing was selling, and it might still be at the time of this recording, for $16. Now, originally I had seen this when it launched some time back, going for about $49, $50. And even then, I think a lot of people said it was a good idea. But at $16, I couldn't say no. So let's open this up, and let's see what the OCTA Commander is all about. Now, this is for the Xbox, but it also means that it works just as well, or works fine, for PC, which is where I do most of my fighting game stuff. And it's been, it's been so long here that I apparently have forgotten how to open packages. That tells you how long it's been. There we go. Trying to do this through a viewfinder doesn't make it any better. So this is the package, and here's what's included with the OCTA box. So we'll toss that, zoink, and let's open it up. So, pretty simple. You get the instruction manual here, a quick start guide, and you get the controller. Now, let's take a look at this bad boy. So this is the controller. Now, what's special about this is you can see it has the 3-in-3 or the 6-button layout. This is more traditional for arcade fighting games, especially the Street Fighter style fighting games. You see this if you are an old school fighting game fan from the era of like the PlayStation 2. They had a lot of these custom 3-button controllers or 6-button controllers for fighting games around that time. I think I had a Hori one exactly like that for one of the Street Fighter releases. But so you have this really nice layout. Now, one of the things you really want to take notice of here, and you may be able to hear that, is that each of these buttons, here I'll do it over on this microphone over here, are clicky. They're almost like mechanical style keys, but in reality they are micro switches. So they are incredibly nice to use. And they give you really great feedback. A lot of the time with a regular controller, and I have one over here, so we'll see this one from 8BitDo, they don't always have that strong click or resistance, and there's kind of a dead space in there. You can kind of hear. But when they're mechanical, you get this really nice click. And especially for cheaper controllers that are more membrane, you won't even realize how bad they are. But this gives you a really strong audio clue when you're actually clicking a button or when you're doing a move. You can actually hear it. It bounces back real quick. There's no give. There's no sliding going on the button. It's not going to get stuck because it's elevated, right? These buttons are flat here, right? So they're not concave. They're not rounded. But they're not going to, and they don't go below the actual shell itself. So you're not going to get them stuck like you do with some other controllers. Now, over here on the left side, you're going to see two things. You're going to see a D-pad, okay? This is a membrane D-pad, and it feels okay, right? I have not felt a really, really good D-pad since the days of the Super Nintendo, but this one does okay. But what you're going to notice here is this joystick. Now, this is where a lot of the fun begins, especially if you're a fighting game player. Instead of having a traditional rounded joystick, like the 360, or again, I'll bring out the 8BitDo one. This is a more traditional joystick. It's round, okay, and it allows for smooth motion. Fantastic for most games. But when it comes to a fighting game, especially if you use a joystick, you want precise directions. You want precise motions. So having these kind of grooves along it, much like, I guess, a GameCube controller really, allows you to know when you're doing that motion. That dragging forward, you're going to get this down, that quarter circle, you're going to feel 3 distinct kind of clicks along there. So when you're doing something, you can kind of use that to your advantage to know exactly where you are and what moves you're making, as opposed to sort of guessing with a controller that's kind of rounded. And that's something I've always had a problem with. I usually stick to a D-pad because most controllers have that rounded kind of frame, making it really difficult to be precise, right? And why a lot of people go to a joystick or an arcade fight stick for that matter. But something like this feels really, really nice. Now, button-wise, you have the standard controller buttons here for the Xbox. You got there, you've got options and all that stuff, and then you have the upload button here. Down here, you have got a couple of options as well. You've got a mute microphone button. You've got the headphone button because there's a headphone jack here. And then you have a file button here that looks like it probably has to do with mapping. Now, taking a look at the top, we got a couple of options here. You've got shoulders and bumpers and the triggers here. Now, these ones are elongated, right? So if you have longer hands, that's great. Shorter hands, totally great. They feel okay. On the back, it's just plain. You don't have any extra features or any extra pads or anything. But this is basically what you get. Now, the controller feels pretty light to me. Not light enough where it feels cheap, but it does feel light. I can imagine if you are looking for something a little sturdier, a little stockier, that you can probably open this up and place a couple of weights in there. I know some people like to do that with their controllers kind of to get the balance right. But as it stands, this works pretty well. Now, in terms of control, this is wired. And that is actually much, much better, especially for fighting game people. You don't really want to drop inputs due to the Bluetooth lag. You don't want to drop inputs from a battery that's dying or something like that. In the heat of the moment, being wireless can actually be a disadvantage, and it's why you don't see wireless people at major fighting game tournaments. You don't see wireless arcade sticks. Everything is hardwired. For the most part, they do exist, but for competitive player, for serious fighting game fans, they're always going to go wired. And I always trust a good wire. And if I'm playing here at my desk, this is totally fine. So this is the Octo. It's incredibly simple. It comes with its own software as well, so you can load up software to do some cool things. One of the cool things that I've read about this controller is that the D-pad itself, while it doesn't feel like the greatest D-pad on earth, it's far from being the worst by any means. It's actually fairly smooth. But you can adjust the sensitivity in the software for this D-pad. Meaning, if you are heavy-thumbed when playing, you may notice with other controllers you slipping commands, right? If I'm going down for a quarter circle, okay, that motion is fairly easy, but what if I'm coming down at a slight angle here, right? And now I'm going to get a mispress with the back and I won't complete the motion, right? And if you've been playing for a long time, you get into these certain motions on how you play. And a D-pad like that becomes problematic because you can really slip inputs, miss inputs, not be able to pull off moves. But with the sensitivity in the software, you can set it to have this motion down here, this kind of down left motion, to require more force to press before it registers, right? So you can adjust the gate on that. And so if you do slightly mispress over here while you're going for that quarter circle, right, it'll still register a full quarter circle, giving this a slight dead zone here unless it's really pressed down. And you can do that for any direction, right? Do you often use the D-pad and jump on accident, right? If you're moving forward because you're kind of aggressive and you do that forward up a little bit as you're kind of leaning into a move and it jumps up, well, you can set that sensitivity a little bit lower as well so that you're not actually doing it. And that really, really, really helps with fighting game stuff. So this is the Hori OCTA pad for the Xbox Series S and X and PC. It's currently, at the time of this recording, $16 or so, about $17 over on Woot. At that price, I think it's a pretty great deal if you're looking for a secondary controller, or if you're kind of jumping into fighting games that still want that traditional controller to be able to use with other games. I think this is a fantastic option. I know a lot of people had reviewed this when it came out last year or so, and enjoyed it even at the price, maybe saying wait for a sale, well, I think this is kind of the sale you're waiting for. If you want one, head over to Woot, pick one up. There'll be a link in the description if it's still available. We don't get any kickbacks or any affiliates from anything, so you simply head over there and get it on your own. We don't get anything, but if you do like this channel, if you want to see more unboxings, more features, and we have a couple of fun things coming up, let us know in the comments, and you can like, comment, and subscribe to help us out, and we'll continue to bring more content in the future. So until next time, we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.